we have a culture all over where it's so busy and there's so much visual noise, there's so much audible noise that you lose your voice sometimes in the sadness, in the trauma, in the when people say, I had to transition, and then they automatically think of a death versus giving birth, right? The birth of a new you. And that is how I look at transitions now. And I wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
In your 20s, you're like, it's all over. I'm going to drink my tears. It's all over. And so you don't think about transitions like that. And I think that now, and particularly with the beautiful way you described walking down to the water and really letting that wash through you, and you sitting down and realizing I'm not in control of any of this, but I can control how I respond to everything that's happening, and then working from that place. This ain't your average healing chat. It's healing through conversations with me, Loveli Brown. Real talk, deep healing, zero fluff. This is your girl, Loveli. I am so excited to have you guys be a part of this wonderful conversation. Today's guest is Miss Wendy Rovers. She is a relationship transitional coach and the founder of Redefining Relationships, a practice dedicated to helping individuals and couples navigate the most disorienting seasons of their lives. Drawing from her own lived experience of divorce 25 years ago, Wendy brings both professional expertise and deep personal understanding to her work. She began her career in traditional businesses, phone calls, handshakes, friendships, driving all over the place, right? Driven strategy before transitioning into her internet business marketing, and spending years working alongside coaches in all fields. But when COVID-19 brought the world to a halt, she turned her business into a calling, right? And today, Wendy works with clients from teenagers to adults to people in their 70s. That is what I'm talking about, generational worth, right? The generational wealth, that's what it looks like. She helps them find their way through separation, divorce, identity rebuilding, and the emotional complexities of starting over. Her core belief is one that changes everything. You have no loss. Her core belief is one that changes everything. You have not lost your wisdom. You only lost your access to it. Okay, you have what? You have not lost your wisdom. You have only lost your access to it. Okay. Wendy's core belief is one that changes everything. You have not lost your wisdom. You have only lost your access to it. This is going to be a good one. Please enjoy it. Hey guys, this is Loveli with the Healing Through Conversations podcast. Welcome back. We are in season 9. I'm super excited because I get to speak to women who are not only learning how to survive, but really in their thriving stages of their lives. They're out here helping other people figure out what it looks like to walk in their purpose, but sometimes stumble in their purpose because you don't always know what the future has ahead of you. We're also talking just from an aspect of being woman. What does womanhood look like? How does change in your life equate to the quality of your life? And what can we do to be better people to each other? What does kindness look like? What does grace look like? What does compassion look like? What does love look like? At the end of the day, that's all we have until we're no longer here, unless you come back as a show pony, because that's what I'm going to do. But today, I get to speak to beautiful Miss Wendy Rovers, who is a relationship transitional coach. But what I found so intriguing by her was her ability to see the sun through the clouds, how she wants to help people figure out what it looks like to have healthier relationships, what articulation looks like, what it looks like to start over from separation or divorce or rebuilding who they are. What does emotional complexities look like in their lives? And do they even understand what that means? She does her work. And I think we talked, she's been doing it did you say you've been doing it for 20 years?
Yeah.
I remembered, y'all. I remembered. And so I am so grateful to have you on the podcast, Wendy. Thank you so much. We can begin our conversation and have such a good time. Tell us about yourself, Wendy.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me here. I mean, I really appreciate it. And I just have to say, like, I love your name, Lovely. It really doesn't get any better than that.
Thank you.
Yeah, really. Um, yeah, it was during COVID when I decided to go into this work full time. So I had been doing it part time for a couple of decades, and and I was had time to quiet down, had my family around. We did a bunch of cooking and we were together, and I've always been fascinated and with how we create our experience. You
Mm,
know, how how some people are seem so easy and happy, and others are so uh tight and stressed out, and um and so I've always been fascinated by that. I'm curious in nature, and I've always had people coming to me. So when I
mm.
made the shift to get the training and the certifications and do this full time, that was just over 3 years ago. And um I guess before I had a name for what I was doing, I was already having these conversations with people. And that's just a little bit about me.
Yes, no, but I loved where you ended. So many of us, especially if you have that calming spirit about you, or even if you are just organically and very open energy person, you seem to attract so many people who
Yeah.
will lay their hearts bare to you, and they really look at you as an authority in a certain space, and being able to figure out how to make those different lives that we're living worth living. Because as you said, when COVID started, I was panicking because I was so worried about my family. I couldn't see the good because all we were being fed was bad. And it took about 6 months, and then I realized that everything that I needed in my life was in the house with me. And it helped me like take that super deep breath that started the creativity. It started that uh, newfound spiritual space. It started a newfound gratefulness space that I think always being on the run doesn't give you a chance to do. It doesn't give you a chance to take like the super deep breaths.
Yeah.
And so that was like such a great pivot for me. And I know that it wasn't like that for so many others. I know that for so many other people, they were like, my life is in shambles. But I think that that was like a great space to be able to like be quiet and listen to the voice in your head and figure out, is that my voice, or is that the voice of corporate America, or is that the voice of my mother, or is that the voice of my dad? Like, how can I decipher what's inside of my head? When we talked previously, you were telling me how this practice has given you've gotten more from it than you've given out. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm more and more a student every day, it seems, and it's fascinating. Um, I have conversations with people, and uh, during our time together, I always see something new. I have a new realization or an insight for myself, and
Mm,
that's the work that I do. It's not. We all have um, innate well-being, um, and innate happiness and wisdom and knowing. We all have access to that. But as you mentioned, when we're busy, and we're all busy, with children and work and friends and family and bills to pay and problems and on, um, the conversations that I have with people, I think give them and myself those moments to slow down.
Yes.
And yeah, and in that slowing down, and it happens sometimes during the conversation and sometimes in between conversations, just the space is where we can see something new and fresh for ourselves that we've never considered before, never thought about um, before, and that's where change happens, and it's really interesting. It's fascinating. So yeah, I do. I'm constantly learning, and that's why I'm so jazzed about what I do too. I really like what I do, and yeah.
I love that. And I love the fact that not only do you talk, you you come from a place of learning because all of us, I feel like you might be like me. I always say I'm intellectually thirsty. I just love to learn and I get big brained a lot. I'm like, oh, you should know about. But also from a place from you've learned in real time going through a divorce early in your life and then meeting the love of your life and then having this wonderful family that you have. Can you talk about how that really helped your practice grow?
Yeah, for sure. I think I began my learning journey of self-discovery. It was about 25 years ago. I transitioned through divorce. So at the time, my guys were 2, 4, 6, and 8. I had four
Woo!
little boys.
Yes.
Yeah, and uh, so as anyone here listening knows, it can be a difficult time, and it was the beginning of. Well, I'll tell you, I for the first time ever, I took a uh, 2 nights and went to a cottage by myself, and I'd actually never been away from my boys on my own till that day, till that weekend. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm gonna go figure this out.
Mm,
Um, the question, I knew I wasn't married to the right person. I believed in marriage uh, once and forever.
mm-hmm.
Um, and so for 8 years, that was on my mind. And I tried things, to make our marriage work and to tried this and that. And we just were not right for one another. And he's a great dad. Always have a great relationship with him. So I went to the cottage and I thought I was going to figure things out. And what I know now is it was the first time I was on my own and I walked down to the water and I had a little notepad and a pen and I sat by the water. And what I did was not figure things out. I gave myself that slowing down
Mm,
to to hear and to listen um, to to the to the to the wisdom, the inner knowing, the intuition, the whatever you call it, anything, to the spirit that was close at hand for me. And I remember thinking to myself and crying a lot and just knowing what was best for me, for my boys, for dad, for our family. And I didn't have the words for it at that time, but whether you have the words or not, this is how we create our experience. And that slowing down allowed me to know and then to say, you know, I am a wonderful mom. I am a great person. I am a kind, loving human being. And I am going to be this person through this time.
mm,
And I made choices from that place and
mm,
decisions from that place. So, it what really fascinates me about so then I've been working with a coach for 20 years. I've been working with the same coach now for over four. And so I've had many coaches over my life. And it's having someone who can, ask you a little question to help you maybe think about something a little differently,
Mm-hmm.
to slow down your thinking,
Yes.
calm down your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I gave myself without knowing it that day, that weekend, because I can see myself walking down the path. And yeah, so we created a wonderful family. Yes, we are divorced. I married Dave about 16 years ago, and he has two boys, so I have some awesome bonus babies. And
Yes.
then Gordon, he moved in about 8 years ago. He was one of my boys' football buddies. And he looked at me one day and he said, Wendy, you have seven boys. And so there goes the heart, gets a little
Right?
bigger, a little
Liz,
bigger.
I don't cry. I don't cry.
Heart's just getting bigger. Yeah. And so we have a wonderful family. And I'm really happy that I was able to see that. And so that's what I want to give to anyone that I'm speaking with is just it's 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 very hopeful and it's very accessible to everyone.
And I
Yeah, so
love that. I love that because you said you don't give advice. You just walk with people and help them access their wisdom, is what you said before. And I
yes.
was like, it gave me goosies. It gave me goosies again because I feel like so many times in the world, people are looking for the answer. And
Mm,
it's because, like you said, no one ever gave them the time to slow down and just
hmm
think for themselves, to look at their own history, to think about their past, to think about what they want in the future, to look at the present time and just give them strength and to give them words to articulate how they're feeling. Just to, and
hmm
also just to be there to like bump, like the little bumpers when you go bowling, like they're trying to help you stay
Yeah.
in the lane, to stay in the lane and to give them gentleness. Because I think that we have a culture all over where it's so busy and there's so much visual noise, there's so much audible noise that you lose your voice sometimes in the sadness, in the trauma, in the when people say, I had to transition and then they automatically think of a death versus giving birth, right? The birth of a new you. And that is how I look at transitions now. And I wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
In your 20s, you're like, it's all over. I'm going to drink my tears. It's all over. And
hmm
so you don't think about transitions like that. And I think that now, and particularly with the beautiful way you described walking down to the water and really letting that wash through you and you sitting down and realizing I'm not in control of any of this, but I can control how I respond to everything that's happening and then working from that place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we talk about transitions, divorce, separation, rebuilding, but I want to talk about something that you said the last time we were speaking about the joy you found with your boys. Like the joy you found in being the mom to all of these beautiful souls and how they've enhanced your life and how you look at getting with your husband 16 years ago. Like that is great. And finding the joy in living and starting over again and what that looks like in rebuilding.
Yeah. They're amazing. I learned from them too. They, it's really, really, I love being a mom.
Yes.
I love being a mom. We have Sunday barbecues. Most of the time, everyone comes over, friends come over, the boys come over, their partners. One of our guys is engaged, going to get married next year, and she's wonderful. We have a large family of the families that have grown up together. So it it and I made a conscious effort to um, show my boys that marriage is beautiful
Mm-hmm.
because you see, I had that question that a lot of moms who are considering divorce or thinking about it or going through it have is how's it going to affect my children?
Yes.
So I thought about all kinds of things, and one of them is coming to mind is I have many friends, well, all of my friends. I was the only friend who transitioned through divorce. So I thought, well, if they keep hanging out with, you know, this couple and all the kids, and this mom and dad and all the kids, and this mom and dad and all the kids, and talking to them about love and how, and then showing them that it's okay. Sometimes relationships don't work out maybe the way we expect them to, but they can shift and still be wonderful. And so I think they feel that. I mean, you have to have them on the podcast to ask them yourself, but I think they feel that, and I think they they're getting engaged. They have partners. They have love in their life. Um, and one of the something that I decided for myself is on the beach that day is to never say one negative thing about their dad to them or um, to anyone, and try not to myself. And I was pretty good at that, and I and I think they like that. Um, they love their dad. You know, kids are half mom and half dad,
Yeah.
and they love mom and they love dad, and there's no two ways about that. They really do. And
Yeah.
so I didn't want to take that from them in any way. And now they have a love for Dave. That's my husband. They golf with him. They golf together. They hang out. They buy him a birthday present. They give him a hug. So what more can you ask for? It's great. So they have lots, just more family. And so you do the best you can. And, uh, and, and that's all you can do at the time.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you in so many spaces because I think that coming from a child who was raised where my mom never bashed my dad, no matter how crazy it got, she was just like, you'll figure it out on your own or you won't. Like, she gave us permission to have our own opinions about our dad through
Yeah.
life
Yes.
and then to work with that. And I think that that is where a lot of couples who are going through divorce or separation kind of get stuck where somebody has to be the bad guy. And not that adult things happen in relationships. It just does. And we can't
Yes.
ignore those things, but making sure that it does not fall on the shoulders of the children who are attached to that. That's really a responsibility of us parents. And not everybody's equipped to do that. I do fully understand that when the world is falling apart, you try to look for the thing that's broken to try to fix it so that you can even the foundation out. But I think
Yeah.
when we take a moment and really take a deep breath, like you gave yourself, and realize that this is just a moment, it's
Yeah.
going to change. And you hope that you can show your children or even people outside of your children that you can still love again. You can still be kind again. You can find those moments where the world doesn't always feel so dark or find a little bit of joy in it. Either way, whichever one works best
Yeah.
for you. Um, what would you say that motherhood taught you it taught you about yourself that you now use as an entrepreneur?
I would say unconditional love.
I love that. And
Yeah,
explain.
I think, well, from what I've seen, I work with all kinds of people. So people in corporate, not in corporate, um, all kinds of people. And uh, sometimes we think we need to be someone at work and then need to be a different person at home and someone with our friends and someone over here when we are one person and we're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when someone is open to to hearing this and that's the work is if you are having a tough time with a coworker or someone you're working with, your boss or your employee, asking yourself, I ask myself, what would love do? When I when I,
Mm-hmm.
and when I think about it, it's not woo woo and wishy washy and weird and flaky.
Yeah.
It's it's I think about if this was my son or my husband, what would I do? How would I treat that person? What would I say?
Mm-hmm.
How would I act, speak? We're very unkind to one another sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
um, and hurtful, and we don't mean to be. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you say, "Geez, how many people can I hurt today?"
Yeah.
It's not that. It's we kind of forget to remember um, that we are love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's everywhere in your life. So I guess yeah, my boys. I mean, and that's and then the goofiness. I mean, I am the brunt of all jokes, and they just say, "Mom, like, why are you always smiling?" You know, like, what
Because
are
I'm
you on?
happy. I'm
What
happy.
what are you on, Mom? So it's a constant. It's hilarious. So they're always razzing me, and I love it. And we have a good time together. But yeah, I think it's the love. Hmm.
No, and I agree with you. And some of that comes with wisdom, right? Because when you are learning more about yourself and you start to have a little bit more self-confidence and building a self-identity that's outside of the titles that you receive from everybody, being the wife and the mom and being the daughter or being the best worker, when you really have to sit down with yourself metaphorically very naked and figure out who you are and how you want to present yourself. What kind of love letter do you want to write at the end of this journey that we're on? You really have to have some intentionality behind that. And you have to have these really deep moments where you realize that it's not as serious as you think it is. I mean, in the moment, it feels so serious,
Yeah,
right? But then I know for me, I do I statements all the time. I can look back and be like, why was I on the floor like that? Like it wasn't even that deep. But at the moment, it felt like the end. It very much
yeah,
felt, but I do love that if you walk in love, if you live in love, if you think in love, because for me, love is very quiet. It's very secure.
yeah.
It's a great anchor. It doesn't always perform, right? And so that unconditional love that you show yourself, and you have to learn that sometimes because you may not have been raised that way, or you may
Yeah.
have had some adversities throughout your life where you don't know what unconditional love looks like anymore in your world. But that unconditional love really is the foundation for so many pivotal moments in our lives that we could totally have to heal. And that is something that I think when we were talking, it I got from you that you allow people to heal in community versus isolation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be a small community, two people, can
Mm-hmm.
be a larger community. Absolutely. I think I always like to think of, um, and I was just speaking with someone about this actually is, when you have your little baby just born and you're in the rocking chair and you're rocking your little baby, that feeling, I think that feeling is that feeling is we're all connected by that feeling. And some people they, maybe have another baby just to try to get that feeling back again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like a high almost.
It right. It's a calm, it's
Mm-hmm.
peaceful, it's a high, right. It's a high, but it's not drugs or alcohol or
No.
sex or porn or it's a spirit.
Yeah, it
It,
feels
it
very kismic. Like it just feels very rooted. Like you are creating tree branches and roots within yourself. And that
yeah,
baby it's a new branch that's attached to you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that feeling didn't go, and it's deeper than a feeling. It's because sometimes we think of feelings like happiness or joy
No.
but that place
Mm-hmm.
is, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But over the years, you know, it kind of gets covered up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when we remember that feeling, um, and then when we learn to point ourselves back there, it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really fascinating, and it's really, well, you'll notice things, see things differently. Hmm.
No, I agree with you. And I think that that was one of the things that I loved when I was in my psychology classes, just learning how to because in the world we aren't taught that. We aren't taught to, I call it the Benjamin Button, go back to the beginning, right? The very beginning. What it feels like genuinely to be a 2 and 3 year old and what we teach them to be kind, to be patient with themselves, to rest when they need to rest, to eat when they need to eat, to to feel love and safety, right? And as we get older, we have these mishaps that come along the way. Some of them are lessons. Some of them are detours, absolutely.
Yeah,
But and so I love being able to sit down with yourself and have these, I always call it ethereal conversations because it's so much bigger than anything that you can really
hmm,
grasp, right? There's no tangible way to explain why you feel like when somebody truly understands you that it makes you want to cry because it's like it feels so very pure and honest. And I think that's the same reason on the flip side when it doesn't work out, you feel so devastated because that feeling won't be there again. But having these moments where you get to touch the chi, you get to touch the
yeah,
that Reiki spot that's the in there where like it just feels like the energy is bursting from your body. I love having those moments because isolation for me was it was twofold. I was in spaces where I knew I needed to detach all of the energy attached to me so that I could hear my own voice. But that isolation allowed me to understand what real community looked like. And so when, like what you said, when you are in a space with one person or two people, if you have two people in your life that see you, like genuinely see you, you are blessed in a way that not many will ever be. And to, like you said, to have your children love you, to have your spouse love you and want to be in your presence and genuinely enjoy being in your presence. we don't realize how much of a blessing that is because we're told, oh, you're just a wife and you're just a mom and it is what it is. But the joy that comes in that, oh my God, like, what would you say to a woman who is in the midst of that separation or that divorce and she's carrying a lot of that guilt with regards to how she's going to present this to her children? What would you say that her first step should be for herself?
Mm. Well, it's hard to speak to everyone because so we are all unique.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll speak for myself, and what I found, uh, what I found to be most helpful was first was that walk down the beach. That was where I decided who who I was going to be during this time. I made a you see, I always in work kind of put a line down the middle of the page and wrote pros and cons on either side. And I always figured things out that way up until that day. And I always thought, okay, if the cons are bigger, then not going to do it. Pros are bigger, going to do it. Let's say and I would always look at things fairly objectively that way and really try to make sense of things.
Mhm.
But that day by the water, um, when I had every intention of making that list because I was going to figure things out, um, it wasn't like that at all. I I and again, I only know this now, 25 years later, journey of self-discovery. So I've come to have a few words,
Yes.
but the few words that I have are for you, this woman, is really giving yourself a uh, time to to listen to yourself
Mm.
because a lot of people, you'll scroll through social media, it'll tell you what to do. You go to Chat GPT, it's going to tell you what to do. You're going to talk to your best friend, he or she's going to tell you what to do. You talk to your mom, they've got ideas.
Yes.
Everybody out there has something to say about what you should do next.
Yes.
And that's good because it feels supportive. And what I what worked for me is to uh, ask myself who I want to be during this time.
Mm.
What what do I want to create here? This is my circumstance. It's crummy, not what I expected at all. I plan to be married for once and only, not what I expected at all, but this is my circumstance. Now, what am I going to create? Who am I going to be now and moving forward? And that can change
Mm.
from Monday to Tuesday, but asking myself that has been very helpful. And I guess that's what I would say because it's very noisy out there. It's
Yes.
very noisy in here.
Mhm.
And until you and you can't be thinking about the problems and expecting solutions to come from that same insecure kind of circular thinking. There's nothing new that will come from there. So that's where settling your thoughts and giving yourself that space and coming to the right now, you can uh, maybe find something yeah, that will make sense. It kind of makes sense for you.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's what I would say to that.
Yeah, no, and I loved how I believe in I statements, and I believe in really curating a life for each person. We're in this world where everybody is supposed to be the sheep and then they all follow the same thing, but that's not how life works. And so allowing people to not only learn how to articulate their feelings, to articulate the desires that they have, to grieve the loss properly, because grief is such a huge part of healing. I know it doesn't feel like it in this world because we're not given time to grieve. It's like if you're going through a divorce, nobody gives you bereavement time to like go through this thing.
Yeah,
But realizing that those stages of grieving, even though you will hit I'm like, anger and bartering, you'll stay in those stages for years if you allow yourself. But just giving yourself permission to be honest about where you are and grieving properly. It's not always crying. Sometimes it's a playlist. Sometimes it's yoga. Sometimes it's
yeah,
learning how to reconnect with friends that you've lost along the way, which is so
yeah.
super huge. And like reestablishing your identity outside of the marriage and realizing that you are still this wonderful human being outside of all this tragedy that's happening. I will ask you, Wendy, what surprises you the most about where you are now in life? Not with regards to divorce, but just how you've come through even COVID and building this business. What and your wonderful family, what surprises you the most about yourself today?
Ah, well, I'm very happy with the work that I'm doing. Um, so it feels so great to be able to wake up every day before my alarm clock goes off, pop out of bed, just jump right to work and really, really love what I'm doing. So
Mm,
I'm grateful for that. Um, I don't know if I'm surprised, but I'm filled with gratitude for the life
mm,
that I have.
mm-hmm,
And I guess, you know, I guess what surprises me is, there is something that's pretty cool is the the more that I um am being who I want to be and create, I meet people like you. I meet people who I probably would never ever have crossed paths with 25 years ago. It's like things come to you,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and it sounds, and I get it. If you're right in the middle of things, it can sound, you might first want to say, yeah, right. But it's true.
Yes.
It really is true. And it's and it's not necessarily the law of attraction or like the secret. I'm speaking about uh just the universe has got your back. You know, the it always it's always rooting for you, always there to be showing you things. But when you're not able to see or to look because
Mm,
you're just so upset or angry or worried, and I get it, no judgment here from anyone, but it's the way it works. So I think I see more now.
yeah,
Maybe that's what surprises me the most is and maybe that's what surprises me every day is I just keep on seeing more, and it's really cool.
I
I think
love that.
that's it.
I I love that is so good. That's I'm like my brain was like, oh, that was such a great topic. Just being able to because it takes a lot of openness, it takes a lot of vulnerability, and it takes a lot of I wouldn't even use the word wisdom, but it takes a lot of foresight to allow yourself to see, right? Because we all get stuck in our busy lives,
Yeah.
right? And so when we
Yeah.
hear and we can you have to get to a place of just this strange kind of love where you can listen to a problem and not put yourself in it, right? It
Mm.
takes a long time for you to get to that space where you can hear somebody else's problem and not think this is what I would do. No. Let's keep talking about it so you can work out how you would handle this situation if you were given all of the freedom that you needed in order to live the next best life that you want to have. You said that the something along the lines, I'm going to mess it up. You said something like it's never an ending, it's only beginnings. And I was thinking to myself, that is every day you wake up, it's another chance
Mm.
to begin a newer life
Mm.
and have a different perspective, even when it's hard. And that was like something that really hit me. I kept trying to have all of these little pointers, and I was like, we had a conversation, and it just ding, 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 and it was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I think we often think that we say that's just who I am. You know, I'm short tempered. That's just who I am. Or I'm grouchy in the morning. That's just who I am. Or um, I'm always running behind. It's just who I am. And the truth is, we we aren't a fixed personality and a fixed identity. We 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 have this been given this gift of life,
Mm,
and we can create whatever we want to create. And I think sometimes, um, especially if you haven't had these kinds of conversations before, because I can remember when I hadn't had these conversations before, and I thought, what the heck are you talking about?
yeah.
But, but, but what I know to be true now is life doesn't have to be so hard, like ever, and it sounds, it can sound so unrealistic to hear
Mhm.
that, but it is true. It is true. If, if we can think life is so hard and difficult, why can't we think life is easy and fun? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? And that's not saying we don't have challenges. Life is a contact sport. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to have stuff's going to happen. People you love are going to die. You're going to lose a pet. Maybe you're going to lose the husband or wife. Maybe a child will die. Maybe a best friend will become disabled.
Right.
Anything can happen. And through all of that, there's a, there's a place, that place we talked about before, where, uh, we all have access to innate health and calm and peace to see what to do next, or what to say or not to say or not to do, and we have access to that,
Mm.
and it's helpful and it's hopeful, and I mean, I've experienced it. Many people I know have. Um, so it's there for anyone. It's who we are, and we are, This is something else that's surprising too. You asked me what's surprising. We are all much more alike than we are different. That I'm seeing more and more every day. And
I
it's
couldn't agree
wonderful.
more.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
And I always say, I'm like, the things that we try to, the ways that we try to separate ourselves, I always say it will humble every soul, no matter who you are. We have to figure that out. We have to figure out what birth looks like for so many people. When you
Yeah.
hit that moment of joy where you can't even contain it anymore, and you kind of look around to see who's looking at you, to see if they think you're acting weird because it's that moment for you where you want to burst out of your body. That, to me, that's living. It's all of these wonderful things that we have, the trinkets and the tangibles are beautiful. I never knock it because it's a blessing to have. But
Sure.
being able to be loved unconditionally by one person in your life is so
Mm,
beautiful. And it's so unexpected because, yes, technically you give birth to a child and you should love that child. But we've seen in the world it doesn't always happen like that. But just
yeah.
having that one person who takes a moment and says, I see you. I don't only see you, I challenge you to see yourself. And that, to me, is why I was so taken by our conversation that we had, because I saw the light in your eyes that when you talked about your husband and your children and
Mhm.
your business, I love seeing that because that's the way I feel in my life. And I love to
Yeah.
see light connect to light. It makes such a big difference in what I'm doing. Like, this podcast would be so sad if all we ever did was talk about sad. It would, it just would be, and I try not to do that. So where
Yeah.
can the audience find you? Talk about your business, how they can connect with your community, because I think that it's worthy
Yeah.
of being talked about.
Yeah, sure. Maybe you'll put in the bottom
Yes.
of
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. So, Redefining Relationships is the name of my business. And you can email me hello@redefiningrelationships.com, and we can see if there's anything I can do to help out, or if you'd like to have a conversation, that would be great. And then I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and all the places, so you'll be able to find me.
And she said, just look me up. I'll be there. I love it. Just look me up. I'll be there. No,
I'll be there.
I just love it. And so your business is international, like wherever you are.
Yes, it's international. I would say I'm in Ontario, Canada. That's where I live. So half of my business is in Ontario, Canada, but the other half is, well, just about the other half is across North America. And I do have one client outside of that area as well. So anywhere, I mean, with Zoom today,
Yes.
we have access to each other. So yeah, and I have traveled a little bit uh, to meet clients too, so that's possible. Yeah, so I do a bit of that, but locally I do quite a bit too. So international, yes,
I love it. I love it. See, I'm always going to hype us up. I'm like, we're international coaches, baby.
international
Yes.
women.
Yes, I love it. Like, you have to
Yeah.
live that life. I'm just saying, like, it's a feat to not only make it through COVID with your whole family, but to then pivot and start a career and really enjoy it
Mm,
and see the love in it. So I'm always interested in boosting a woman's spirit and raising us up, because when we do it together, there's nothing like it. Like, when women support
nothing
women,
like it.
there's nothing like it. I am so grateful that you did this. I
Mm,
have so many little moments where I'm like, she needs a t-shirt. She needs a t-shirt that has this saying on it, because it is great. And I love how you love, because that, to
mm,
me, is, I had to learn how to re-love myself all over again. And I expect that to happen again in my life. And that's why Lovely is my fullness. I live in that space 100%. I love in that space, and I love creating safe spaces for us to heal through conversation. We appreciate you guys so much, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much, guys. From a coach's standpoint, I want you guys to understand what we just had a conversation about, right? It wasn't just about healing, right? It wasn't just about divorce. It wasn't just about family. It's understanding that we are all these beautiful, connective souls that are going through so many different things in our lives. We are profoundly intricate and lovable. We are very essential to the future, how we see ourselves, how our children see us, how we connect to the spirits that are within us, how we find the quiet within us to hear the answers that we really need. When I was speaking with Wendy, when we first had a conversation, what I just loved about her was that she was so calm, and it felt very intentional, that conversation. And today it felt very intentional. It felt like we needed to have this conversation, this healing conversation, to get to a place where we see ourselves as full people. I think sometimes when we are in the midst of the work that we love to do, we just take it as face value, but really being able to sit back and listen to each other and hear how grateful we are to receive the love from other people and to be able to bring some kindness, some calmness, some resilience, some strength, vulnerability to a conversation that allows a person to see themselves as full people. How great is that? Like, how profound is that moment that we have together? So I thank Wendy so much for being a part of this conversation. Redefining Relationships is her business. I encourage you guys to learn so much more about Wendy and to follow her, because she is putting out messages and she's helping people transition through so many stages of their lives, but still figure out what love looks like, what kindness looks like, what grace looks like, and what it feels like to be deeply connected to something so much bigger than who we are. I love you guys so much. Please, if you have a friend, a sister, an auntie, an uncle, I'll take, send this episode to them. If you feel like this could help somebody who's going through a really tough time right now, find some connectiveness. If any part of this podcast touched your soul like it touched mine, like, share, subscribe. You know, your girl appreciates so much. I do not take lightly everyone who's a part of this podcast. I truly, truly feel like when we're learning how to articulate our feelings, wants, needs, and desires, we can better advocate for ourselves and the people that we love. And I love you. Lovely out. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.